Hello viewers, today we are going to continue our discussion of language in the print media. In one of the earlier episodes, we discussed the language used in various journalistic pieces like news, features, editorials, etc. Today we are going to discuss along the same lines, and we have with us in the studio Mr. Shivnath Mukherjee, who is an academic. He is a teacher of journalism and mass communication at Future Media School, and he has also taught at several other colleges and a much sought after teacher of journalism and public relations. So I would straight away like to ask Mr. Mukherjee, what is public relations?
You see, public relations is not about good relations with the public.
Not just about good relations.
Yes. So it is actually a planned communication with the various publics of an organization, that is, the stakeholders. And for instance, we have one of the crucial stakeholders is the employees, without which a company doesn't function. The customers who has to buy the products, the shareholders who are owners of the company, and of course the media through which we communicate with all the publics. So I come straight to the media, and media being one public, one of the best tools we have is the press release. Press release is actually a news report. I give you a press release when my company is doing a great job, maybe a great export, maybe an indigenous product or a machinery or whatever, something we want to share. So that is where we have a press release and we give it to the press. It is, as I said, structurally the same as a news report. It is the inverted pyramid where at the top we have the most important facts. Next, the less important facts, and of course the least important facts. And it should go with a good, attractive headline. So this is the part where it is the same with the news report. But what is different is, once we give you a press release, there should be written in bold that it is a press release. It's going to the press, one. The next thing is that it should have a contact person and the contact number, etc., email IDs, whatever. Because press release, maybe you want to clarify certain, the journalist might want to clarify something, so he has to have a contact person. And there are two things I suggest my students, is that put in a few quotations of your top management, say the CEO or the COO or CFO, depending on what kind of press release. For instance, a finance-related press release would have a CFO saying it, etc., etc. And after all, you are the PR of that company, so write a few good things about your company. So if you're lucky, if you get the space, maybe it goes with the news, and if you're unlucky, it gets cut. So this is about a press release.
Yeah, and I think on the internet there are these templates of press releases that are there, which even the students can download. And this is one such press release that I got, which I very nicely explained here, how, paragraph by breaking it up, paragraph by paragraph, and just as you said, ending with a profile, short profile of the company and the contact details.
Let me tell you again, PR person is a great communicator. And he should be very good, he should have very good writing skills. Because it's not just about writing a press release. There are lots of things, I'm just coming to it.
Yeah.
Lots of things that he has to either write himself or edit, right? Or has to advise others to write. Yeah. So the next we come to is the house journal.
Okay.
The house journal is one of the best tools we have to communicate with the internal public as the employees.
Yeah.
Employees. So the house journal gives you the employees the information top down, and also takes information from down to the top.
Yeah.
The employees also react you know, as like letters to the editor kind of things. They also write. So that is, and the management comes to know about them. It also speaks about what people are doing in various other factories, in various offices. You know, so you build a camaraderie between the employees. So that's very important. And the top management has a platform from which it can communicate directly with the employees.
Okay.
So these are the most important tools we have there, and I again say that he should be very, very good in his writing skills. Of course, communicating skills is also about his talking, verbal skills, etc., etc. But
and what about annual report? Who prepares the annual report?
No. Actually, the annual report is prepared by the finance department.
Okay.
Because it's all about finances.
Okay.
You know. From here the money comes, here the money goes, this is what happens, etc. etc. But you see, the PR person should get actively involved, you know, to correct all that goes into that.
Okay.
Right?
Because it will go to all the shareholders.
Yes. And it should be from grammatically and from the language point of view, the construction point of view, it should look very nice. So the PR person who he doesn't see the graphs and charts. He just sees whatever is written and he marks a comma here and or a full stop or a capital and things like that. I mean, mainly editing the whole thing.
Okay. One thing I would like to ask you about the role of this PR person, that, you know, sometimes companies get into trouble. Say, for example, Coca-Cola has pesticides, you know, or chocolate, Cadbury chocolate has lead. Suddenly it gets publicized and people stop buying these products. So the company has to do some troubleshooting. It has to do some image repair in the mind of the consumer. So what role does the PR person play at such critical
that's a crisis situation. And I think the PR person has a great role to play. Now let me tell you at first. Now, if your company has done something really bad, the PR person can't do it good. It's done. If you have taken out money, if you have done whatever with the shareholders' money and things like that, he cannot undo the whole thing, right? But he has to take certain steps. For instance, if there are complaints, he has to take the best possible solutions, like get it, for instance, if they find pesticide, now get it checked by one of the best laboratories of the country. What I'm talking about is then this false. If it's actually proved right, then we have to acknowledge, we have to recall. That's but just some complaints is there, so we have to go check, and then we publish the laboratory reports. Again, press conference, where you explain, because press conference is not something like a release you send it.
Directly you meet
them and you give them the clarifications. You tell them that these are the reports.
Now, who calls the press conference? The PR person or the chairman? Or
No, never a PR person. The PR person is the behind the scene man. It's always the CEO. CEO is the best person. Or else maybe, if it's a financial related, maybe the executive director, the CFO, right? Deputy managing director, the CFO kind of, who looks after the finance. The top man who knows what he's doing.
Has to face the press.
And the PR person, he conducts the whole thing. So that everyone gets a chance to ask.
Sends out invitation to the press and makes sure they come and all that.
Sending them, and then see to it that everyone gets a chance to make his questions, ask questions, etc. etc.
So that's about PR writing, the writing required of a PR person in a nutshell. The types of writing required. Anything else apart from...
As I said, everywhere where writing is required, maybe an audiovisual, maybe a documentary, maybe a film, short films, whatever, wherever anything of writing is required, the PR has to go through.
Okay.
The whole thing. He has to edit, he has to write himself. Sometimes he's so busy that maybe he cannot write, but he has to go through.
PR person have to do any kind of ghost writing?
Of course, if you call it, we don't call it ghost writing actually, because the chairman's report, there you see the chairman is reading his report, and you know the chairman has written it. Actually, maybe the PR person has actually done all the research.
Okay.
They have got all the best things that's being said, by all the chairmans, and he collects them. Of course, the chairman himself gives you the line of thinking.
Yeah.
This is what I want to say about my company. But what I want to say, but how I will say it, it depends on the PR person who writes it.
Okay. All right. So that means the PR person really has to have writing skills, again of different genres of writing.
Yes,
he has to get used to that. All right. So that's about PR. Now in the newspaper, last time we were discussing newspaper. Now in the newspaper, apart from reports and features and other opinion pieces, you see another type of text, media text, which is the advertisement. Writing for the advertisement is a completely different ball game. It's not journalistic writing, nor is it PR writing, but it's a completely different ball game. It requires some very high level of creativity. But remember, it's not just, writing creativity to write a poem. It is creativity to sell a product. Final purpose of any advertisement is to sell a product. Okay, that is the challenge of the advertiser. So I would like to share the thoughts of one of the biggest ad gurus the world has ever had, that is David Ogilvy. So he has given some nuggets of wisdom to those who write copies for advertisements. So he says that advertising people who ignore research are as dangerous as generals who ignore decodes of enemy signal. Okay, so he is giving prime importance to research. So what kind of research? That means the person who is writing the copy must know who he is writing it for, who is the ultimate consumer of the or perceived consumer of the product, what kind of thought process does that person have, and what that person really needs. Okay, what are his hopes and aspirations or real needs in his life, and he has to address that. All right, so for that he has to do the research. He has to, if some earlier advertisement campaigns have failed, he has to analyze why those have failed so that he doesn't repeat the mistakes. All right, so a lot of time has to be devoted to the research, because if he just sits and writes without knowing who he is writing it for, then it will be very, very hypothetical and very superficial kind of writing, and even though it may sound very smart, but it will eventually miss the point, in the sense that it will not affect the person who is supposed to buy the product, or rather for whom the product is being made. That was one. Second thing David Ogilvy said, a consumer is not a moron, she is your wife. Don't insult her intelligence and don't shock her. So what does it mean? It means that don't think that the consumer is dumb and he has low level of intelligence. Don't talk down to the consumer. He is intelligent enough, and you treat your consumer at that level with respect. If you talk down on the consumer is bound to get bound to be put off by your product, howsoever good your product is.
You respect them, they respect you.
Absolutely, yeah. Then Ogilvy said, if it doesn't sell, it isn't creative. Meaning that your creativity has to be tuned to selling the product. If your advertisement doesn't push up the sales, that means something is wrong. You are not pitching it right. So then their creativity is of no use. So you can awe them, you can charm them with your words, but then it should not be at the expense of sale. It is not creativity for creativity's sake, but it is creativity to improve the sales or improve the image of the product or the brand value of the product in the market. So for that, the advertising copy is very, very important, and a lot of time goes into writing just the right copy. Every word has to be chosen carefully, and it may not come in one flow. You may have to draft and redraft, and it takes time. So the copywriter has to be mentally prepared to devote so much of time till he gets the perfect pitch. And so he has to be mentally prepared that, you know, he may write one copy and then he may have to reject it completely, start afresh once again, something like writing a film script. So that much of time and energy he has to devote. And when he's writing the copy, one thing he must remember, he or she, whosoever is the copywriter, that 5 times as many people read the headlines as they read the body copy. So the copy of an advertisement had that headline or the tagline, as we say, and there is the body copy which explains more about the product. All right. So people tend to read only the headlines and they ignore the fine print. So get the headline right. Put all your energy to perfect the headline or the tagline. All right. And then the body copy. If you get the tagline right, 80% of your battle is won, one can say. And the consumer should be able to understand why he should buy the product, and he should feel the product in his hands. I mean, what the product is going to do to his life, he should be able to visualize that. That's the purpose of writing the right copy of advertisements. And I would like to share with you, and you can also share some of your favorite taglines. So here are some from Indian advertising, some very famous taglines. The taste of India. So it is about a butter. Yahi hai right choice baby. Prahlad Kakkar, he was the advertiser for this. So you know it is about a cold drink. Taste the thunder. So thumbs up, taste the thunder. Once again, they are playing with alliteration. Now, when it comes to advertising for soft drinks, you know, for soft drinks do not have any intrinsic product value. You know, they are not really going to do any value addition for your life, to your life, okay? So therefore, you have to give a value to them, like taste the thunder. So you associate that idea of thunder or energy with a particular soft drink. So that is an association that the copywriter or the advertiser is creating. It is not intrinsic to the product. Daag achhe hain, a particular detergent. Reclaim your life, a particular vehicle. Okay, reclaim your life. All right, so it's very clear that why that particular vehicle is important and why people should go for that vehicle. Har ghar kuch kehta hai. So again, it's giving a hope that you have your home and you decorate your home, you make your home beautiful with a particular kind of paint. Simply fly. Again, playing with words. So it's easy to guess about an airline. I love you, Rasna. So the tagline itself has the product. All right. See, for this particular soft drink, children are the target. So therefore, the tagline is also kept simple. Zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi. So again, it's a rhyming. All right. And zindagi ke baad bhi. So it is a
insurance maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an insurance. Yes. Bajate raho. An FM channel. Bajate raho. Unputdownable. So the word unputdownable is grammatically incorrect. But then it goes very well with the product that it is selling, which is a particular newspaper.
Must be a newspaper.
Yes, it's a newspaper. Yes, so let's hear about some of your favorite taglines of advertisements.
You have actually discussed it in detail, but I will just make a few additions. I remember an old advertisement. Possibly the ice cream company wanted to, position the brand differently and wanted to make it a health product. So I distinctly remember that line. It said, health that melt in your mouth. An ice cream product, where actually it's the major part of that is the health. So the stress is on health. So the health that melt in your mouth. This is one. Two, there are some taglines, as you said, sports shoe, saying, just do it. That gives you a lot of power in, right? And that just...
Empowering.
Yes, empowering. And that just do it, it says, okay, let us try, let us try. So it doesn't say anything to just do it and wear that shoe or something.
Nothing,
just do it. So coming back to that copywriter, I think he has two things in mind, or he has two goals to reach. One, what we call top of the mind brand salience, which means the product and the name, it should come. The first thing, he will not say toothpaste, it will come as a brand name.
Exactly.
That he has to ensure. And two, he has to make it that interesting that you go out and buy the product.
Yes.
For that, he has to do whatever research he has to do and write it 3,000 times, but he has to get the right words.
Which will motivate the way. Yeah.
A paint company. Whenever you see color, think of us.
Yeah.
So the color and the paint comes.
Right.
Whenever you see the paint, you think of that, the color. Anywhere you see color, you think of the
us.
paint.
Yeah. So that is something about writing for advertisement, writing copies of advertisement. It's very difficult and it's quite an art, but it is an art for the purpose of marketing, not art for art's sake. We will finish today's discussion with another kind of genre, particularly in magazines, which we get to see, which is called advertorials. Now, what are advertorials? Advertorials are actually you may say they are extended advertisements. They are made to look like normal journalistic writing, but they are actually promotional writing. Okay, say in this Outlook magazine, writing like this, see, that entire thing, it's written Outlook Spotlight. So all in Outlook, all advertorials are marked as Spotlight. All right, so any reader of Outlook knows. And if you see, the layout is different from the normal journalistic pieces. All right, if you read, the style of writing is also a little different from the journalistic pieces. So these are advertorial. That means these are paid pages. Outlook, this particular magazine, has been paid for all these pages that it has published. Each college, there are writers about each college, and from each college it must have taken some money. So this is that is called an advertorial, which is made to look like editorial writing, but it is a paid piece and made for promotional purposes. Now, what is the secret of writing good advertorials? So one important aspect that one can keep in mind is 70% of an advertorial should be good content and 30% should be promotion of your product. So that means, say, good content meaning, another advertorial I'm showing here, it came out in a Singapore newspaper, Pay It Forward. So which is one particular NGO, it helped and it kind of gave a second life to an accident victim. All right, so it is a good social service they have done. So there is a lot of write-up about the medical problem and how the medical problem was solved and all. And then towards the end, there is one paragraph about the role played by the NGO in bringing forward, raising money and bringing forward that making that medical help available to the particular victim. All right. So the advertorial is giving essential information, information that is helpful for any reader, but at the same time it is also promoting a particular brand, particular product or particular organization. So it is 70% good content and 30% promotion of the product. Okay, that's like a rule of thumb. So speaking of advertorials, do you have some words of advice?
Yes. Advertorials can be made very effective, as you have said, good content. For instance, let me write an article on what you should do in case you have a heart attack. And you give, which are very informative, how to understand whether you're going through a heart attack. And then, the time is very crucial, right? And then what are the symptoms, what you can do and what you can't do. So it is a very attractive and very interesting and very informative article. And then you come that it's from a hospital, because as you said, time is very important, and we have that Within a few seconds we can be there, we can bring, we have everything, all the, just at the end. But apart from that, it also is a very instructive kind of an information. So we can always make, very informative, interesting articles and make it,
make the advertorials worthwhile, worth reading. Right. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this discussion of language in the print media. Now, any student who is interested in writing, I would say that he or she should develop the habit of reading everything in a newspaper. Normally, we read just the headlines and the sports news maybe and the cartoons. But somebody interested in writing should read the editorial, read the reviews, read the other columns, the features, etc. And then only through reading all these diverse kinds of writings, he will be able to imbibe the language and eventually develop a style of his own. So happy writing to all our viewers. So with that, we will end this discussion. Thank you very much.